there's been a lack of space dedicated to kids online, and I've noticed this downward trend for several years, and I'm not the only one who's noticed this. Back in the day being about 20 years ago, there was new kids websites popping up all the time. Neopets, I think, still exists, actually, but there was toy tie-in sites like Webkinz, or like kid-friendly MMOs like Gaia Online, Free Realms, does anyone remember that? Toontown, that was pretty big. Fusion Fall, I have a whole video covering that. And everyone is familiar with the recent downfall of Club Penguin. May it rest in peace. Were you a Neopets kid, a Club Penguin kid, a Pop Tropica kid, or a Webkinz kid? And toy tie-in things was a lot more common back in the day than it is now. People like to say that Skylanders was overhyped, but I can tell you now, no it wasn't. That was a generation's toy tie-in. That was their Webkinz. Skylanders deserved all the hype that it got. Now that I'm older, I wish there was actually more Toys to Life products, because now I'm actually at a point where I'm interested in jumping into that thing. Like, amiibos just don't do enough for me. I don't play enough Nintendo games to solely buy amiibos. So it's become apparent that since there isn't really a space online dedicated for kids, kids have no other choice than to use social media, which is a horrible alternative. Social media, as bad as it is only getting worse. Heck, I barely use social media anymore. The moment TikTok goes away, I'm probably gonna just like find a game on Steam or on Switch that allows me to just turn my brain off. And here's the other big thing. Since Shockwave Flash is no longer supported by Adobe, first of all, Adobe, screw you. Since SWF files are no longer supported, the foundation of so many websites was ripped from underneath them, especially kids' websites, because there was a lot of Flash games. There was a big scare when they announced that they're no longer supporting Shockwave Flash. There was this whole archiving project to try to save so many years of Shockwave games. And it made these sites literally inoperable, as I'll show you in a second. They would have to rebuild the entire website from the ground up, and certain like mainline sites did. I think the loss of Shockwave Flash was the biggest turning point in the internet, at least in our lifetimes. The internet has never been the same ever since we lost Shockwave Flash. So what is still available for kids today? Well, unless you're going to coolmathgames.com, you have the big three cartoon channels, Disney, Nickelodeon, and Cartoon Network, and even those have changed so drastically, you're gonna be upset at what you see. These three things that are dedicated, or supposed to be dedicated, to making a space online for kids are now dropping the ball pretty hard. So using the Wayback Machine, we're gonna start with my favorite, the one that I grew up with. I mean, I grew up with all three of them, but CartoonNetwork.com. This is a Wayback Machine. This is from 2003. And you can see it's pretty bare bones, but there is like a certain like panache of the year that it was made. First of all, the UI is largely up here in the corner where you have these moving animated like squash and stretch cubes or rectangles. Where you can, and this is a very important thing that every single one of these websites needs to maintain, you have games. You have a play section right here. You have watch, which most likely just has uploaded clips at this point, which we're not able to watch because it's no longer supported. Orbit, which was like, it was a reward system for logging in, kind of like how apps do nowadays, or like mobile games. The shop, which I never clicked on because I never had money, and so I actually have no memory of ever clicking on the shop button. A download section for like, whenever you would have like a lot of kids would have a printer at their home, and they would have, I remember there was a lot of cube printout foldable little figures at one point, and I forget which website had it, but I got obsessed with those. Like printable little games was so fun. There was a lot of effort put into actually making a fun experience for kids. And this is still around the time of Toonami, so, and you can see that what will eventually become standard is the bar at the very top where it shows all the shows. Instead, they have you hover over an image, and the top left corner of the home icon overlays with what the show is and the title of it. And jumping ahead to 2009, this is around the weird era where Cartoon Network was sort of getting into the live action sort of thing, that thing that really like bombed for a lot of kids and nobody wanted to watch it. We weren't quite at the point of destroy, build, destroy, but we were getting on the cusp of that. And this is their era where this was more of a managerial problem back at Cartoon Network, where, you remember the frickin' these frickin' blank white figures? Like, I don't know what the thought process behind this. When you have a kid's website, you have saturated colors. Even adults, as humans, we like saturated colors. Kids especially. Kids need color. As developmentally, they need color. So seeing this is just more marking the history of Cartoon Network and how bad the managerial system was. But this was also during the time of Batman the Brave and the Bold, like the game creator. I played with this so much. A lot of my time was dedicated to going online and playing just online games that Cartoon Network made. Because I would get to a point where this was back when during renting video games was still a thing. Like, I'd go to Game Crazy and I would rent video games from them. There was a certain point where my parents said, hey, we're not going to rent any video games right now because we don't have the money, or we're not buying you a new video game because you already have some. And I'm like, I already played them. I don't know what to do. This was what got me through the in-between. This is what got me through the awkward middle stage. Or like the Batman Brave and the Bold racing game. That ran terribly on my computer, but I played it all the time. My parents got concerned about how long I was spending in front of the computer because of how often I was playing these games. And this is around the time of Fusion Fall, which, God, Fusion Fall was so cool, especially for someone like me who was just like a massive Cartoon Network fan. One thing you need to notice is that in the Cartoon Network website, you'll see these ad spots around here, where there's certain areas dedicated for ads. Or like this area that can no longer load the Shockwave Flash file. And you're gonna see that with a lot of these websites where just certain aspects, chunks of these websites are missing because there's no more Flash. So this specific era sucks. The games, I think, were actually really good. They put a lot of effort into the games, and the games on this website were so good. I don't know why this one big Batman Choose Your Team game creator is so big and overlaying on top of what is clearly supposed to be a little Total Drama Island cartoon heartthrob hotshot thing. And what's on the other side? Okay, this is where it's supposed to be. Why is this here? Why is it? The Wayback Machine isn't perfect, but it's a really useful tool. Now we jump ahead just a couple years later into 2011, and this is where they started kind of getting their stuff together. But you can see there is a homogeny to all of these websites now, where there is a tabs at the top where it tells you a home games, the video where you can actually watch little clippets or entire episodes, Fan Talk, where you were supposed to be able to have a board where you interact with other kids and talk about your favorite shows. Like, there was an emphasis on interaction between other kids, which is now gone. That is gone entirely, largely because of social media, and if you want to talk about it, you go to social media. And there was a lot of effort moderating what kids would say, because some kids had potty mouths, and the TV schedule, which is also gone. I've noticed in a lot of modern websites for these kids' networks, they're entirely gone. They don't show the TV schedule anymore, which I guess makes sense, seeing as so much of our visual entertainment is from YouTube or video on demand, and there's not really much of a need or a demand for a TV schedule for broadcast cartoons. You're going to see that the areas for ads are going to go away, because I think it's illegal for them to actually have ads on their websites now when it's aiming at kids because of COPPA, which I'm not really too upset about, you know? But I mean, the ads that you'd find on these websites would be toys or McDonald's, stuff that is still appropriate for kids. And this is the time of Adventure Time and Total Drama Island. They still had a little bit of support for Teen Titans, even though this is a pretty past. Oh, hey, look, we actually have an ad brought to you by McDonald's. Yeah, I see what I'd say. It's usually McDonald's or something. And to show off your badges, sign up, log in. There was a reward system still, because they wanted people to keep coming back to the website. Probably Cartoon Network more than not, because they had ad support. And so kids coming there would show ads and they'd get a little bit of profit from that. And we can maybe go see the other games. I'm gonna try clicking on this and seeing if we get anything. We actually do have something, yeah. Oh, this was during the time of Young Justice. I like this website design. I think this is cool and colorful, and I like the background splash where it looks like you're in just like a void, but it's like very Cartoon Network-esque, where they started adopting, instead of just the black and white, they started adopting the CMYK color. TKO, I played that so much. The just two big robots fighting each other. Or, oh, To the Ed Stream. This I played all the time. Clash of the Idiots. I really liked Ed, Edd n Eddy. I liked Ed, Edd n Eddy more than I should have. They still supported a lot of games for a lot of shows that weren't really like new at the time, because Foster's Home was decently old at this time. K&D, Kids Next Door, was not new, but I really appreciate it because it drove me to come back, because I had grown up with all of these things, different eras of Ben 10, Symbiotic Titan, Teenage Warrior, and they would have like certain games where if you play it, you would earn badges. So there would be an incentive, and there was a rating system for how good the game is. There was more interaction with other kids. It felt like you were part of something a little bigger than just a blank website. The Big Picture Show, I like Eddie, Cardboard. See, there was like, it was, remember when you would make an account and you weren't able to actually type in your username? You had to choose from like 3 different pre-selected options of different names. And that's what these are: Cheesy Eddie Gumbo and Awful Hunter Hawk. I love this era of Cartoon Network websites. I think this is the best era of Cartoon Network. Now we go to what is literally just a few years ago. And this, I think this is 2016. This is where we started seeing the massive radical change to minimalism. The massive shift away from kids interacting with each other. That's gone entirely. There's no more ads, because they are not legally allowed to have them. And all they care about is just getting kids to watch their show. And that's all it is. There is still games. Like, Cartoon Network has always been good at making games, but you can see there's a lack of depth. There's a lack of fun to the website, whereas previously there was a lot of interaction you could do. There was a lot of personality that was put into it that really showcased not only the website, but also the company and their motive and drive to make it more of a place for kids to continuously return to. Now it's just a bland, boring backsplash. Episodes you can watch, games, good, which some of these we can probably play, since this was probably at the point where it's past. Oh, community. They get rid of this eventually. You can sort of like see, oh, there is an ad. You had to find it. I didn't realize that was an ad. But this is Cartoon Network today. This is the website that I pulled up just typing in cartoonnetwork.com. And you can see now there's less options. There's games, video, and apps. Like, you just go and you can see like, go download our free apps or pay for apps, because we know you kids aren't actually using the websites anymore. We know you're just using your phones. You're probably using a phone to watch this video or to go to this website. They have apps on Kindle. Wow, they're covering all their bases. I guess that makes sense. Like, Kindle's pretty child friendly for like parents who are a little bit more concerned about the current state of the internet. That would make sense. And technically this is an advertisement, but it's their stuff. It is the only safe advertisement they can do. And so now we're gonna scroll down. They have games. Cartoon Network's always been great about making sure there's games. That's what I love about Cartoon Network. Not every website does that, and that's it. That's the entire website. They at least like changed it to where there's little illustrations of their cartoons, thank goodness, but it's square. It's all square. There's next to no animations except for you pop down on games and it just bounces, and that's it. It's just a simple up and down animation, which is incredibly easy to do. I can do that with just a simple spline animation. And unlocked, you'd think that sound like, oh, they still have like a login system and like a reward system. No, this is just the episodes that you've unlocked. There is not a way in order for you to interact with any other kids. They just decided we don't want to have to deal with that anymore. You can log in, sure, but it's grab an adult to log in and watch. There isn't a reward system. It's all gone. Now it's plain and boring, and either you can play games, thank goodness, or you can watch our show, and that's it. But what about Nickelodeon? A lot of you guys are Nick kids, especially with the new documentary that came out. This is 2004, we can't even see the website. The entire foundation of the Nick.com website was done using Shockwave Flash. Can't even see it. So we jump ahead a year, and now we have what I'm assuming what it's supposed to be looking like. It's very dated. I think Cartoon Network did a better job at like making it look more visually appealing, but this at least like tells you, like, gets kids wanting to click on things and explore. And that's something that's gone. There is no exploration of the website anymore. There isn't a want or a drive to go in there and try to just like see what has been put under the layers of this website. Nick was pretty awesome back in the day because you had the banner. They were already ahead of the game with having the banner of all your favorite shows so that you could quickly go to them and not have to flounder around and figure it out. Games, which they do have a games tab, but they have not really a good thumbnail system for what is a game and what isn't. They could really have improved this. I'm now just like critiquing like just the web development and the UI, but they had My Nick, which I'm assuming is like their reward system for logging back in, and a TV schedule. You have to log in to play their games. I guess that's why I never really went to the Nick website, because why? I don't want to make a login. I was very cautious about the internet back then, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't gonna do anything. Buzz, that just led us to the modern website. Oh, 2010. Now I'm specifically choosing early 2000s and the 2010s and then the modern era, because that's where you see the biggest changes in all of these cartoon channels. And they lost, like, it's better design, but they lost a lot of fun, where instead of like they have a bar at the top that shows episodes, but you don't like move it. You have to have a drop down, which kind of lame. The games tab, which we can't click on. Videos? No? Okay, never mind then. And for Nick, you could actually type in your username. Apparently they got smarter and just said, yeah, you can type it in and we just have keywords and strings that we'll check for, and if you have that, you're not allowed to have it, we just won't let you make it. But there's ways to get around that using leet speak and all that stuff, which they eventually got better at and included leet speak, and so there's not a lot of ways in order to get around it anymore. I don't know why Nick.com wouldn't have something like color. They have all white. Why they're orange and green for slime? Why would they not incorporate those colors more? Then this is another problem. We're at 2015. You can't even see the website anymore. It's stuck in an infinite loading screen, and you can see the TV shows at this time, like Winx Club, iCarly was still going on. Super Mega Force was around this time. Paw Patrol, yay! So now we're at 2020. This was just a few years ago, and you start seeing the homogeny start to peek through, where it's, at least there's color, thank goodness, they got smart about that, where it's, you have the banner at the top, it's about like 4 options. You have, here's your 4 things that you can do. We don't want to overload you with options. You know, kids don't want to get them overwhelmed. There is no exploration anymore. There is no drive to try to see underneath the layers of the website. There isn't a hope to like seek things out or find hidden treasures. It's all just, here you go. Do only what we want you to do. And I can't even actually explore this website because every time I do, they have a pop-up that says, hey, well, there may be links to other websites, and then this will disappear in 5 seconds, and then it just loops. So that's a shame. But here we have modern Nick.com. Here we have, honestly, a bit of an upgrade in certain regards, because at least there's a backsplash that shows like the fun aspect of Nick.com with the slime. But it's just watch some shows. What do you do? You just watch cartoons. They have some free episodes, that's nice. Do they have games anymore? The moment any of these websites gets rid of games, it's a dead website. Because if the only purpose these websites have is just to watch videos, you can do that on other websites that do it better. But you see, Square, homogeneous, boring, not a lot to do, not a lot to work on. They don't even have animations for things. It's just, it moves forward a little bit. It really, none of these websites feel interactive anymore. And now for, I think, the weirdest of the trilogy, Disney Channel, whose website always was bad, if you're gonna ask me. This is from 2005, and it's stuck in an infinite loading screen because Shockwave Flash was the foundation of the internet back in the day. But remember, like, the blue with the neon green animation where it was kind of techy? At least, like, with just the loading screen itself, it felt animated. And for these companies that do a lot of animation, it's weird how their websites don't have any animation anymore. So we're skipping ahead to 2013, where massive improvement, but then again, we didn't really know what the 2005 one looked like. I like how they overlay it with like actually the logo. That feels a bit more interactive. That feels good. They had blurbs. It was like an article. That's nice. That's smart. I mean, maybe if you don't have like a login system for kids to communicate with each other, you still had like something to give them that was being made by someone. There was still like a peer-to-peer aspect of it in some way, even if it was the people of the website making things for the kids. Or they have a vote, make your mark, what's your favorite birthday treat? This was like giving the illusion that you would do something or contribute to something, where like Disney Channel was very much a go to our website, interact with like the polls or vote on something, and then on the TV, you would see the results of those polls. That was smart. That was cool. That was getting people to go to the website. That's not happening anymore. And even though video on demand gives a lot of power to the people, as opposed to cable, which is slowly becoming cable, there was still a lot of fun when it came to the possibilities of broadcast systems and how they could update things on the fly because it was happening at their discretion. Like the schedule of shows was happening at their discretion. The advertisements was happening at their discretion. The breaks in between where it was, you know, my name is this and you're watching Disney Channel. Bum 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 bum. Those sort of bits where they had to like legally display like we're going into an advertisement. That's the reason why they had that, by the way. They did that because they were saying this is no longer a cartoon or TV show. We're showing ads. We legally have to like distinguish between the two. Can I load more posts? I can load more posts. Nice. Deep Thoughts, a gallery. Lemonade Mouth is a good movie. You guys should watch Lemonade Mouth. My partner got me to watch that. The songs are still good. We can't click on Deep Thoughts by Maple Pines. I always liked it when they did the thing where they would make it to where it seemed like the website was being made by the characters of the cartoons or the show, which even when you're a kid, you know it's fake. But it made it feel quirky. It was fun. Small little ideas that were very simple to implement. It was just typing a few things or writing a couple things and having like an image. But it made it fun. 2016, we can't really explore. Let's see if we can click on playing games. Here we go. You can see this is the Disney Descendant era. 2016 was when they started like really changing, like trying to incorporate mobile apps because they knew that that's where kids were going. But you can see it's starting to become blocky. It's starting to become, I mean, there wasn't really a lot of animation in the Disney Channel website in the first place. They kept the switching in between the characters that you recognize into the logo, which you probably recognize once you look at it. But there isn't really much of an option for interaction with other kids. There isn't a social aspect. You can't comment on things. Let's see if we can go to a game and see if there's like a comment section beneath it. Isle of the Lost Rush, there's supposed to be an ad there. More options for games, more action games. And there is no option to comment or give your opinion, or there's no poll. There is no rating system. No interaction of these whatsoever. Oh right, Club Penguin was Disney. Oh, that's a shame. What, it was Neopets was bought up by, I think, Nick. And then Disney had Club Penguin. Like there was a fight to get what these like third-party independent websites that grew in popularity, massive popularity, and they were being bought out by these bigger companies. And then as popularity of these slowly died, they just threw them under the rug, and like they do with like any TV show. It was just an IP that if it stopped making the money, that you just get rid of it and replace it with something else, because that's what you have to do. Disney Channel's always been, this is the modern website. This is the current website for Disney Channel. There's two websites that Disney has. There's Disney Channel, where it's now white and blocky and, well, there's contests. Whoa, did they actually bring back something? Maybe not. What? Come on, give me something. There's a schedule? They still have a schedule? Oh, that's nice. Well, Disney Channel has one thing up, a leg up against some other websites. So thank goodness you're still able to play games, but a lot of the things that would make it engaging, that would make it fun, that would make it interactive, that would make it explorable, not present. They made it simple, they give you what they think you want, and they don't want to put any more effort into this. They are giving up, is what it is. They are knuckling under. They're not even bothering anymore. And literally they have an entire other website that's just to show episodes. And why, I don't understand why they have two websites, one for Disney Channel and what's Disney Now, where it's also just a bunch of Disney Channel shows. Well, I guess they have like the kids shows, but is that, wouldn't that just also be on Disney Channel? I don't know, no, that's Disney Junior. Nick Jr., Disney Jr., okay. I guess this does kind of make sense. It's at least more colorful, but thank goodness. Hang on, I want to check something really quick. Cool Math Games, is that still a thing? Cool Math Games is still available. Oh, they switched to the Unity engine. Yeah, everything is switched to the Unity engine now, since there's no Flash. It's just really sad. It's really sad how we have stripped away a lot of what made being a kid fun from the internet and also like from our lives in a lot of ways. When people thought of kids, and they thought of them not just as a demographic, they thought of them as actual kids that need to be appealed to. Kids want to have fun. Now, since kids don't really have the option of fun, all they really have is to adapt to what the adults are doing. Cause like you see a lot of like tweens, 13-year-olds going into Sephora and Ulta and just making a mess because all they get that really appeals to them is beauty gurus that allow them to, that's their only form of entertainment to express themselves. You see a lot of comments online of people talking about, oh man, when I was a kid, I was concerned about the fucking Game Boy and other things that are kid appropriate because that was accessible. That was a thing that you could get. Now you can't. And that's what I think not enough people are understanding. Now everything is desperately trying to be monetized. A lot of these websites are giving up and they're becoming streamlined, blocky, and boring, stripped of personality because they decided if it's not profitable, why bother putting in effort? They don't understand how these websites would complement the other things that was actually monetizable. It would make it to where you would become an established fan. There was loyalty. Like, especially with me, with Cartoon Network, massive loyalty with me and Cartoon Network, especially because of the website that they cultivated. So go ahead and get upset at kids for being jerkwads at Ulta and Sephora, but have a little bit of sympathy for them because you need to understand these kids don't really have childhoods anymore. We've taken that away from them. And that's really what I wanted this video to highlight now. And honestly, it hurts me inside. A lot of the creativity of these recent generations, sure, you can blame COVID, fine. A lot of the creativity is gone because we don't make these things interactable. We don't give them a reason to hunt things down or explore or search. We've taken that away. We just give them what they want. We are responsible for these kids, or at least partly responsible for these kids lacking in creativity. So if there are kids watching this show right now, this episode, this video, keep in mind that it's not really your fault. And I'm sorry. Like, a big reason I don't want to have kids is just because I see how unfun we are making the world for kids. If you want fun for kids, you need to pay like $10,000 to go to Disney World or Universal Studios. Like there's Chuck E. Cheese now. Dave & Buster's is for adults. I remember Mr. Biggs. There's some places, but like now it has to not only be for kids, but also appeal to adults. And that's wrong. Like there's no fast food restaurants that have play places anymore except for Chick-fil-A. Like my sister brings her kids, my nephews and niece, to Chick-fil-A just because the only place with a play place. And yeah, it sucks to maintain this stuff. It sucks to have to clean it. It sucks having to deal with rowdy kids. Don't get me wrong, I understand that in a lot of ways, kids suck. But by taking that away from them, we're depriving them of becoming like proper adults. I might cry. I'm actually getting really upset. I'm realizing how bad things have gotten. Or like with mobile games, with ads. Like, there's so many new apps that are trying to make it to where like they can monetize it or like have a reward system for you, like a reward system overlaid on top of that reward system. Like if you play a game, like if you use their app to look for games that you can find on the App Store and use their app to find those apps, to download that app, and then you can start earning in order to like get credit cards, and it's so that they can run ads over these app games, and it's just everything needs to be monetized. Nothing's made because it's just fun. And that was what was the big appeal of YouTube way back when. Like YouTube was better when people were doing it for fun and not just for a job. And like you have Newgrounds. Newgrounds is still an option. I don't think people really know about Newgrounds anymore, but now you can't really do that. You can't really bring kids into that because what was kids going into Newgrounds are now adults, and there's like a mature section. I'm gonna end this video. I need a moment for myself. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave your comments below and if you have recommendations for things that are like kid friendly and like properly for kids, that's made for the enjoyment of kids and not for the monetization of kids, then leave it in the comments below. If I can make a video compiling all these different avenues that's just something that's made for kids that's just supposed to be fun, then I would love to do that. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay beautiful and keep playing.